we are always talking about is the balance between this physical world that you are focused within and the non-physical part of you who is also focused within this world. It takes some deliberate intent and some focus, and most of all, some self-awareness of the way you feel to get those energies just the way you mean them. We ask you to sift and sort and live life and let life come at you. And so in the process of that, in that step one asking, you introduce into your equation more resistance than you would maybe at some other time. In fact, all of your creating really happens in those step one moments. But then, as you understand, it requires deliberately focusing into that energy of the answer. You could almost say, it's not exactly right, but it is a really good way of looking at this, that the question step one and the answer step three have to find some way of blending within you. You have to find a way of the question being important enough that it launches a desire, but then it doesn't stay so actively asking that it blocks you from the answer. And so what we're really talking about here is knowing which moment it is, know whether this is an asking moment or whether this is a receiving. It's almost like, is this a speaking or a listening? Is this the moment I speak or is this the moment that I listen? And in your human communication with one another, you don't enjoy conversations where you're all talking at the same time. It's nice when someone talks and someone listens, and it's very much that same way. Think about it for a moment. Are the others in your life more about the contrast asking part of the equation or about the receiving allowing part? They are all about the asking part. That's why you interact with one another. But you know, so often you want them to be all about the receiving. You want them to soothe you into receiving. That's why we tease you as we accuse you of living conditionally. It's like you want others in your life to behave in ways so that you can feel good as you observe their behavior. But that's not what your plan was. Your plan was to mix it up and help the others help you to define what you want. Now, we've not said that to you before, and we believe that it will serve you especially well, don't you think? You're saying to each other, you don't bring me flowers anymore. Or you're saying to each other, you used to make me feel good, and now it's like you don't try. And we are, in all of that conversation that you're having with each other, wanting to talk you in the direction of reaching to your inner resources for that step three. And of course, once you reach for those inner resources and find them, when you are, not once, because it comes and goes, when you are under the influence of your own inner being, then of course your interaction with others is delicious. We think there is nothing more wonderful than for two or more of you to be tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and playing with each other. That's just the most satisfying part of life. But if you are using each other to try to get into the receiving mode, then it's a misunderstanding of who they are. And it's a misunderstanding of who you are. Does that make sense to you? That's revolutionary. That's the most important thing that we've said to you in the last 2 minutes. Or ever. Or ever. What you must be noticing is if you collect enough data from enough people, you find out that they think all kinds of different things about all kinds of different things. And none of them are stable. Because it's not their job to ground you. It's your job. We'll put it into our terminology. Sometimes my mix of vibrations, as I'm working on being grounded, holds vibrational frequencies that law of attraction matches perfectly. So sometimes I match up with other people and other situations that reflect to perfection what I'm emitting vibrationally. And then we say that you would like to say, especially in the middle of one of those moments, good to know, good to know. But when you are in any moment emanating in vibrational equivalency with your inner being, you feel satisfied and more. You feel invincible. You feel exhilaration. You feel clarity. You feel eagerness. And so, what do you think you're getting at? Are you seeking more control of your focus? Or are you seeking more sensitivity to your emotions, to your emotional guidance system? Or are you seeking others who get you, who behave better? It does feel good when you're on the same wavelength with someone, unless your harmonics with their wavelength takes you away from your true wavelength, then you feel fear. So when you're trying to get to know people, or trying to get them to know you, or trying to get them to like you, you might want to just tell them what's really going on. From time to time, I may very well choose you instead of my own source, and it's going to suck for me, and I'm going to blame you. You understand that, don't you? It's a hard habit to let go of, because the people that you most relate to are those whom you can see and hear and smell and taste and touch. And you do have so many emotional responses to them that it's easy to train yourself, or to help to train them, or to let them train you into looking for behavior modification in order for you to maintain that balance. But you're really not looking for that balance. In fact, maybe it's not even grounding you're looking for, because looking for love in all the wrong places, or looking for people to shore you up, is more grounding. We would like you to just let go and fly free. We don't want you to be earthbound. We want you to be source energy, flying around here. After Esther first began receiving us, she was unsure. She only knew how it felt. And she couldn't listen to other people because they had so many warnings and so many rituals and so many things that they worried about. And she just didn't want to hear it because, first of all, there was such a variety of comment. And next, it didn't feel good when she was hearing it. And so she had the wonderful experience of having Jerry close by, who had studied a lot and who was sensitive to his own guidance system, even though he didn't really know it, who had good intuitive sensibilities about whether he wanted to move forward into something or whether he didn't. In other words, sometimes Jerry felt guarded. And while we are not encouraging guardedness, we certainly don't encourage moving forward into something that you feel guarded about. What good is your guidance system if you don't use it for guidance? So after Esther began receiving us in those very early days, she was having every night out-of-body experiences. And they were living in Phoenix on a golf course. And when she thought about having an out-of-body experience, she thought, maybe it's not such a good idea because I might just fly away and I won't be able to make my way back to Jerry. And then she thought, well, I'll just fly around the golf course. So each night, just as she was dropping into sleep, but right before, she would slip out of her body and slip out of the window and fly around the golf course. Oh, it was so delicious. Her favorite was down close to the ground, under the bridges, close to the water, and then soaring up and circling around again, and then back into her body. And she liked it so much and feared it a little bit at the same time, because it wasn't something that she felt that she was controlling. She wasn't really controlling it. She had done her controlling by meditating. She had found her control by living happily ever after. She had found her control by being in love. She had found her control by basking in the deliciousness of her life. She had found her control by discovering her vibrational harmonics with us and utilizing the opportunity often. But when she would put herself in her bed and allow herself to join the frequency of us, it was us that was controlling or choosing the night flight. And because she didn't want to fly around the planet, we didn't. Because she wanted to stick close to home, we did. Because she loved flying under the bridges. That's what we did most, every night, over and over and over again. At some point, you want to say to yourself, and really know it, I've done the work and now I can let go. Now I can soar. Now I can listen to the impulse of my inner being. Now I can do what feels the best to me. Now I don't need to continue to take a survey of what everybody in my circle or everybody in my family, everybody in my whatever group thinks. I have done my work. I have found my resonance. I am utilizing my guidance, and now I am free to be all that I am. We know that it's asking quite a lot of you to say, just let go and trust that all is well. And we're really not saying that to you. We're saying, be tentative if you want to be. Learn about the law of attraction. Pay attention to the way you feel. Notice the absolute correlation between how you're feeling and what comes next. Teach yourself through your emotions and then through manifestations what it's like in this world. Show yourself your vibration. Show yourself what happens when you think these thoughts and when you feel these things until you know for sure. Don't take anybody else's word for anything. You must know for sure. And when you do, then you'll have the assistance in those moments of knowing. Anything that you want to know, you'll have knowing of. Your inner being will give you as much answer to any question as you are vibrationally able to comprehend. And how do you increase or improve your ability to comprehend? By meditating, by quieting your mind, by achieving higher vibration, by looking for the good in the world and in everything and in everyone, by feeling for and identifying what love feels like, and then isolating the feeling of it within you until that's who you mostly are. Esther is at the baggage carousel coming back from a trip, and as the carousel was spinning, she began to recognize the bags and still had not seen her own. And it had been long enough, and she couldn't hear the truck out there, and she couldn't hear the dropping of the bags. She's really familiar with this place, and so she can tell by the sounds that she hears coming through the wall exactly which carousel is going to start spinning. So she just goes and positions herself, and so she's the first one at the right carousel every time, and she watches the bags coming. And then she realized, I feel worried. And then she thought, I can't be worried and satisfied at the same time. It's one or the other. Pick one. So she thought, well, I like to be satisfied. And then a childhood game came into her mind and a childhood song, and she began playing with herself and singing the song, and the doggy won't bite you, and it won't bite you, and it won't bite you. Where did that come from? She hasn't even thought about that in many years. Just this playful way to play with the bags. It's not you, it's not you, it's not you, it's not you, it's not you. And instead of watching anxiously for what was going to come down the ramp next, she just looked at each one that was before her. I won't take you, and 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 I won't take you, but I will take you. And then she realized there was a man standing very close behind her. She did not make eye contact with him. But she showed herself how to not be worried, and we're not saying that's what made her bag come. Her bag was coming. Her bag was coming anyway. And if her bag wasn't coming, that song wouldn't have helped. But it sure helped how she felt in the moment. And that's really all you're wanting to do with life. We're not wanting to teach you how to control the circumstances of your life so that as these conditions become perfect, then you can be a conditional lover of life. We want to show you how you can feel good, because that's the way you're supposed to feel. We want to show you how you can achieve vibrational alignment with your source, because that's when the most expansive ideas will come to you, and your timing will be at its best, you see. We're not trying to teach you how to fix a broken world, because your world isn't broken. We're just wanting to show you how to joyously navigate in the world in which you live and utilize the contrast and the details of it in the way you want it.